Imagine unlocking a force so powerful that it can transform your entire life, your health, wealth, relationships, and peace of mind. The Secret Power Working Within You by Dr. Joseph Murphy reveals that each of us carries an incredible inner power capable of manifesting miracles when understood and directed properly. This isn't about luck or wishful thinking. It's about tapping into the infinite intelligence within your subconscious mind, learning to align your thoughts with your deepest desires, and harnessing the silent force that shapes your reality every single day. Today, we explore how to awaken this hidden power and let it work wonders in your life. Every individual carries within them a duality of consciousness, the conscious mind, which governs your deliberate thoughts, decisions, and awareness, and the subconscious mind, which operates silently in the background, shaping your habits, emotions, and responses to life. It is the subconscious that ultimately dictates the outcomes of your life because it accepts as true whatever you impress upon it consistently without judgment or doubt. The conscious mind is like a captain steering a ship, but the subconscious is the engine, the vast and invisible force that propels the vessel forward. Therefore, understanding how to align your conscious desires with the deep currents of your subconscious is not merely a technique, but a life-altering skill that can transform every aspect of your existence. Many people fail to achieve their goals, not because their desires are insufficient or weak, but because there exists a disconnect between what they consciously want and what their subconscious mind believes is possible. The subconscious does not reason in terms of logic. It does not distinguish between reality and imagination. It responds to repetition, feeling, and conviction. For instance, if you consciously desire wealth, but deep within you hold beliefs of scarcity or unworthiness, your subconscious will override your conscious ambitions, creating circumstances that mirror your inner doubts. The alignment process begins with awareness, the recognition of this internal dichotomy, and the willingness to actively participate in reprogramming the subconscious mind. One of the most powerful techniques to achieve this is through the deliberate use of affirmations. Affirmations are carefully constructed statements that reflect your conscious desires in a positive, present, and emotionally charged form. The key to their effectiveness is repetition, emotion, and visualization. Repetition is critical because the subconscious learns primarily through frequency. Ideas impressed consistently eventually take root and manifest as reality. When stating an affirmation, one must do so in the present tense, as if the desire has already been fulfilled. Phrases such as, "I am prosperous and abundant in every area of my life," or "I radiate confidence and attract opportunities effortlessly," speak directly to the subconscious, bypassing the critical conscious mind and embedding the desired reality within the deeper layers of thought. However, words alone are insufficient. Emotional engagement is what transforms a mere statement into a powerful mental seed. The subconscious responds to feeling, not to words. When affirming, one must cultivate genuine emotion, imagining and experiencing the sensations that would accompany the fulfillment of that desire. The feeling of security, joy, freedom, or excitement should flood the mind and body as the affirmation is repeated, creating a vibrational harmony between conscious intention and subconscious acceptance. Visualization is another cornerstone technique, which involves mentally rehearsing the outcome as vividly as possible. The mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is real. By imagining the fulfillment of your desires in precise detail, seeing it, hearing it, and feeling it, you create an internal reality that the subconscious will accept as truth. Visualization acts as a bridge, linking conscious intention with subconscious conviction, gradually dissolving doubts and reinforcing belief. It is essential to practice visualization regularly, ideally in a relaxed state such as just before sleep or immediately upon waking, when the subconscious mind is most receptive and permeable. Beyond affirmations and visualization, attention must be given to the removal of conflicting beliefs. Many subconscious programs are rooted in past experiences, societal conditioning, or internalized criticisms that contradict current desires. These limiting beliefs act as invisible barriers, quietly sabotaging conscious efforts. Identifying and confronting these beliefs is a vital step in alignment. Questions like, what do I truly believe about my worthiness, my capability, or my ability to succeed? Or what fears have I internalized that oppose my conscious goals? Help bring these hidden convictions into awareness. Once identified, they can be consciously replaced through affirmative repetition, visualization, and intentional focus on empowering alternatives. Gratitude serves as another powerful mechanism to synchronize conscious desires with subconscious acceptance. The subconscious responds strongly to the emotional energy of gratitude because it resonates with abundance rather than lack. By cultivating a deep sense of gratitude for both what you currently possess and for what you intend to manifest, you create a fertile mental environment where conscious desires are reinforced and subconsciously acknowledged as already present. Journaling is an effective adjunct technique, allowing one to record conscious intentions, reflect on limiting beliefs, and track emotional responses to the process. Writing down desires, imagining outcomes, and noting feelings creates a tangible, interactive process that further solidifies the connection between conscious thought and subconscious programming. The language of the subconscious is symbolic and sensory. Therefore, the more detailed, sensory, rich, and emotionally charged your affirmations, visualizations, and written intentions, the more profound their effect. In addition, the repetition of these techniques should be consistent and patient. The subconscious does not operate on a schedule visible to the conscious mind. Changes may be subtle, gradual, and initially imperceptible, but with persistent and deliberate practice, the subconscious begins to accept new beliefs as reality, thereby aligning external circumstances with internal intentions. Meditation and relaxed focus amplify the effectiveness of these techniques. By calming the conscious mind and reducing the chatter of daily distractions, meditation allows for a clearer channel to the subconscious, where impressions can be made more directly and powerfully. During meditation, one can repeat affirmations internally, visualize goals with clarity, and cultivate the emotional experience associated with fulfillment, thereby reinforcing the alignment process. The subconscious is also highly responsive to imagination and play. Creative visualization, guided imagery, and even simple daydreaming with deliberate intention can serve as tools to communicate desires to the subconscious mind. Engaging the mind in imaginative exercises that depict the achievement of your goals strengthens belief, reduces internal resistance, and encourages subconscious cooperation. It is important to note that alignment is not merely about imposing desires upon the subconscious. It is about harmonizing with its natural tendency to materialize whatever it truly accepts as real. By feeding the subconscious consistent, emotionally charged, and believable representations of your conscious goals, you invite it to orchestrate circumstances, ideas, and opportunities in the external world that mirror the internal state. Furthermore, Environmental and habitual factors can support or hinder this alignment. Surrounding oneself with positive influences, inspirational materials, supportive people, and environments that reinforce the desired beliefs accelerates the process. Conversely, exposure to negativity, skepticism, or persistent fear can disrupt the delicate bridge between conscious intention and subconscious acceptance. Therefore, conscious attention to external influences is an integral part of sustaining alignment. Another vital component is the practice of self-talk, which is the internal dialogue that continuously shapes beliefs. The subconscious mind is listening at all times, absorbing patterns of thought and internal statements. By consciously directing self-talk to affirm capability, abundance, and success, one ensures that internal conversation supports conscious desires rather than contradicting them. Each negative statement, doubt, or self-criticism must be replaced with positive, reinforcing declarations that nurture alignment. Sleep is another opportunity for subconscious programming, the mind in the state of transition between wakefulness and sleep is exceptionally receptive. Repeating affirmations and visualizations during this state impresses the subconscious more deeply than during the fully alert state, where the conscious mind often critiques or doubts the suggestion. This pre-sleep practice ensures that the subconscious is primed with the desired beliefs overnight. Patience and trust in the process are essential because the subconscious operates according to its own logic, and manifestation unfolds in perfect timing. Persistent practice without attachment to immediate outcomes reinforces the subconscious impression while avoiding mental conflict, doubt, or resistance. Small victories, incremental progress, and shifts in perception serve as confirmation that alignment is taking place. Emotional states act as indicators of progress. Feelings of peace, confidence, excitement, and inspiration reflect successful communication with the subconscious, while persistent fear, doubt, or anxiety may signal residual resistance that requires further attention and refinement. By carefully observing emotional responses, one can gauge which areas of alignment are strong and which require more conscious intervention. In essence, aligning conscious desires with subconscious beliefs is a multidimensional practice involving awareness, repetition, emotion, visualization, affirmation, gratitude, journaling, meditation, environment management, self-talk, and the conscious release of limiting patterns. Each technique works synergistically, reinforcing the others, creating a coherent internal state in which the subconscious mind accepts and acts upon conscious intentions. Mastery of this alignment allows individuals to move through life with clarity, confidence, and a sense of empowered purpose. The conscious mind sets the goal, imagines the outcome, and expresses desire, while the subconscious mind, now harmonized and receptive, silently organizes the events, opportunities, and inner resources necessary to bring that goal into tangible reality. This partnership transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, the possible into the actual, and the dream into living experience. It is the science and art of conscious co-creation with the infinite intelligence residing within, a process accessible to anyone willing to practice deliberately, focus consistently, and cultivate unwavering faith in the power of the mind. Every thought, every affirmation, every imagined scene contributes to the growing resonance between conscious intention and subconscious acceptance. The more one immerses in this practice, the more automatic, effortless, and natural the alignment becomes, until the subconscious itself becomes a loyal ally in the pursuit of dreams, effortlessly translating internal visions into external manifestations, guiding actions, attracting synchronistic events and reinforcing belief through tangible results. Every human being carries within them immense potential, often far greater than they can consciously imagine. Yet, despite this inherent capacity, most people live lives constrained by invisible barriers, mental blocks that limit thinking, diminish creativity, and obstruct the realization of their dreams. These blocks are not imposed by external circumstances, but are self-created, formed over years of conditioning, fear, doubt, and repetitive thought patterns that convince the mind that certain things are impossible, unsafe, or unattainable. Understanding how to overcome these mental blocks is critical because they are the silent thieves of opportunity, quietly shaping outcomes and silently dictating the boundaries of what one believes is achievable. Mental blocks can take many forms: fears, limiting beliefs, self-doubt, unresolved trauma, societal conditioning, and habitual negative thinking. Each of these factors operates subtly but powerfully, influencing decisions, actions, and reactions. Fear, for instance, is one of the most common and crippling mental blocks. Fear of failure, rejection, criticism, or even success can immobilize a person, preventing them from taking the actions necessary to fulfill their potential. Fear is often rooted in past experiences or imagined scenarios, which the mind exaggerates, creating a distorted perception of risk and danger. Overcoming fear requires acknowledgement, understanding, and gradual desensitization. By confronting the fears directly, breaking them down into manageable components, and taking small, deliberate steps beyond the comfort zone, one can begin to weaken fear's grip and regain control over thoughts and actions. Limiting beliefs are another significant form of mental block. These are internalized ideas that define what one thinks is possible or permissible. Phrases like, "I'm not good enough," "success is for others, not me," or "I can't achieve this because of my background," are internal narratives that shape perception and behavior. The subconscious mind accepts these beliefs as truths, influencing decision-making, motivation, and persistence. Replacing limiting beliefs requires first identifying them, questioning their validity, and consciously introducing empowering alternatives. Affirmations, visualization, and repeated positive reinforcement are effective techniques to override old, negative patterns with constructive, supportive beliefs. Self-doubt often arises from a combination of fear and limiting beliefs. It manifests as hesitation, indecision, and a persistent inner voice that undermines confidence. Self-doubt can be addressed by cultivating self-awareness, documenting achievements, and celebrating small successes to create evidence of capability. Regular reflection and acknowledgement of personal strengths, past victories, and learned skills reinforce self-trust and weaken the power of doubt. Unresolved trauma or emotional pain is another root of mental blocks. Experiences that were frightening, humiliating, or painful in the past can leave impressions in the subconscious that persist long after the events themselves. These unresolved experiences can create resistance to new opportunities or generate subconscious fears that sabotage efforts. Healing these blocks may involve therapy, mindfulness practices, or inner work that allows the mind to process, release, and reframe past experiences, transforming them from barriers into sources of strength and insight. Societal conditioning is also a subtle but pervasive mental block. From childhood, individuals are exposed to rules, norms, and expectations that define what is acceptable, possible, or desirable. While some guidance is beneficial, rigid adherence to limiting social norms can stifle creativity, ambition, and personal expression. recognizing societal conditioning and consciously choosing to question, adapt, or discard beliefs that no longer serve personal growth is essential to unlocking potential. Habitual negative thinking is perhaps the most common and persistent mental block. Thoughts repeated over time create neural pathways in the brain, establishing patterns that the subconscious mind continues to follow automatically. These patterns can include pessimism, worry, self-criticism, and catastrophic thinking. Overcoming habitual negative thinking requires conscious intervention, mindfulness, and the deliberate cultivation of constructive, positive thought patterns. Meditation, focused breathing, and mental rehearsal are effective practices for breaking negative thought cycles and reinforcing empowering alternatives. One powerful technique to overcome mental blocks is the practice of conscious visualization. By vividly imagining success, desired outcomes, and the fulfillment of potential, the mind begins to accept these scenarios as possible and attainable. Visualization strengthens confidence, reduces fear, and communicates to the subconscious that limitations are imagined rather than real. In this process, emotions play a critical role. Feeling the success, joy, and satisfaction associated with the achievement of goals, while visualizing helps internalize the belief that these outcomes are within reach. Another critical strategy is setting clear, achievable goals and breaking them into incremental steps. Mental blocks often feel insurmountable because the mind perceives tasks as too large or complex. By dividing goals into smaller, manageable actions, one reduces anxiety, builds momentum, and allows for consistent progress. Each step achieved reinforces the belief in capability, gradually dissolving internal resistance. Self-discipline and consistent practice are essential in dismantling mental blocks. Without persistent effort, the mind naturally reverts to familiar patterns and the safety of old beliefs. Repetition, consistency, and dedication to personal growth ensure that new, empowering habits replace old, limiting ones. Surrounding oneself with supportive influences also accelerates the process. Mentors, role models, inspirational materials, and a positive community provide reinforcement, encouragement, and alternative perspectives that help challenge and reframe mental limitations. Language and self-talk are powerful tools in overcoming mental blocks. The subconscious mind responds to the messages repeated internally. By consciously choosing words that inspire, affirm, and empower, one gradually reshapes internal beliefs. Replacing phrases such as, "I can't," or "I'm not able," with "I am capable" and "I can achieve" creates new neural patterns aligned with possibility and action. Mindfulness and present moment awareness are equally important. Many mental blocks thrive on projection into the future or rumination on the past. By grounding oneself in the present moment, focusing on current actions, and observing thoughts without judgment, one reduces the power of negative beliefs and creates space for constructive thinking. Embracing failure as feedback rather than as a threat is also vital. Mental blocks are reinforced by fear of failure, but reframing failure as a learning opportunity diminishes its paralyzing effect. Each setback becomes a teacher, providing information, insight, and adjustment rather than a confirmation of inadequacy. Cultivating resilience is crucial in this process. Mental blocks are persistent and may reappear under stress, challenge, or new circumstances. Resilience, the ability to recover, adapt, and maintain belief in potential, ensures that temporary setbacks do not solidify into permanent limitations. Another transformative technique is the practice of gratitude and appreciation. Recognizing existing strengths, achievements, and positive circumstances shifts focus from limitation to possibility. Gratitude fosters a mental environment conducive to growth, openness, and confidence, weakening the influence of mental blocks. Developing creative thinking is a complementary approach. Many mental blocks limit imagination and problem-solving ability. Engaging in creative exercises, exploring diverse perspectives, and challenging conventional assumptions expands mental flexibility and opens pathways to solutions previously blocked by rigid thought patterns. Exposure to new experiences, knowledge, and challenges stimulates the mind, introducing alternative ways of thinking and reinforcing the belief that obstacles are surmountable. Hypnosis and guided subconscious work can also accelerate the removal of mental blocks. By accessing the subconscious directly, these practices allow for the reframing of limiting beliefs, the introduction of empowering alternatives, and the release of deeply rooted fears and doubts. Sleep and rest are equally important in maintaining mental clarity and overcoming blocks. Fatigue and mental exhaustion exacerbate negative thinking and reduce cognitive flexibility. Adequate rest restores mental balance, strengthens resilience, and enhances the mind's ability to absorb empowering beliefs and strategies. Regular reflection and self-assessment are necessary components. By examining thoughts, behaviors, and emotional responses, one can identify recurring patterns, triggers, and areas where blocks persist. Conscious acknowledgement enables targeted interventions to dismantle barriers and reinforce empowering alternatives. Overcoming mental blocks also involves cultivating a sense of purpose and meaning. When actions are aligned with core values and deeply held intentions, motivation strengthens, doubt diminishes, and the mind becomes naturally receptive to possibility. Purpose provides a guiding light that directs focus, energy, and action toward fulfillment, reducing the influence of limiting beliefs. The mind thrives on clarity, repetition, emotion, and belief. By systematically applying techniques such as visualization, affirmations, incremental goal setting, mindfulness, creative exploration, and environmental support, individuals can reprogram thought patterns, release fear, and dissolve barriers that have long limited their potential. Each step taken toward overcoming a mental block strengthens confidence, reinforces possibility, and demonstrates the alignment between internal capacity and external reality. The process requires dedication, patience, and conscious effort, but yields profound transformation. Every mental block removed frees energy, creativity, and initiative that were previously trapped, allowing the individual to access latent abilities, talents, and intelligence. The journey of overcoming these blocks is also a journey of self-discovery, revealing insights, strengths, and resilience that were previously hidden beneath layers of doubt and limitation. By continuously observing, challenging, and reframing internal narratives, one cultivates a mental environment where unlimited potential is recognized, embraced, and actively expressed. Over time, the consistent application of these strategies leads to automatic, habitual empowerment, where the mind no longer perceives limitations as real, and the individual naturally operates from a state of confidence, creativity, and expansive possibility. The transformation is cumulative, with each small success building upon the last, gradually eroding the once formidable barriers of fear, doubt, and self-imposed restriction. Ultimately, unlocking unlimited potential requires harmonizing conscious effort, subconscious cooperation, and the deliberate cultivation of mental, emotional, and spiritual resources. By systematically addressing fears, limiting beliefs, self-doubt, negative habits, and environmental influences, Individuals can dissolve obstacles, strengthen resilience, and harness the full capacity of the mind. As this alignment deepens, thought becomes intentional, action becomes confident, and the hidden reservoirs of talent, intelligence, and insight begin to flow freely, empowering the individual to achieve results that once seemed impossible. The key lies in persistent practice, unwavering focus, and a willingness to confront, question, and release mental blocks whenever they arise, creating a life where potential is no longer limited by fear or doubt, but is expressed fully, creatively, and with profound effectiveness, allowing for personal growth, achievement, and a sense of empowerment that radiates into every area of existence